Hello my little flowers! Today I'm going to talk about why I recommend going to diabetes camp. The first and only time I ever attended a diabetes camp was in the summer of 2010 when I had only been diagnosed for 10 months and I was 16 years old. So the things that went on in my mind for the first at least 10 months until I went to that camp, being newly diagnosed, was just, who can I relate to? I felt like I couldn't relate to a single person. I was just walking around feeling like I was totally alienated and I was just kind of like a freak of nature, which I know now that I'm not. But this was back when Instagram wasn't really a thing. I didn't have a Twitter at the time. I did have a Facebook and I did look at some like online community type things for fellow diabetics, but it just wasn't enough for me. I wanted to meet people in real life who were dealing with the same issues as me, and I wanted to deal with people who would be straight up with me because they also dealt with everything I'm dealing with. In my school, there were about 2,000 people, and I was really the only one with type 1 diabetes. So I would have to go to the nurse's office every lunch period, check my blood sugars and have them like make sure I was okay, and they would write down my numbers. And the only other person who was ever there was a type 2 diabetic who would kind of come in, go out, and that was just it. And so I felt like, wow, I'm the only person in this entire school as far as I know. And I started becoming really obsessive. Like I would sit in class and I would look around at all the people and just think, wow, my pancreas is broken and all other pancreases work. So I can't talk to a single person about the fact that I'm taking injections and I'm checking my sugar every day without them being kind of confused. Or at least them trying too hard to relate without actually being able to. So I got really emotional about this, and I knew in my heart that I was not the only person in the world with type 1 diabetes, but I felt like I was. So I told my mom, and she immediately just jumped on the computer, started typing away and just Googling stuff for me, and she initially found a few diabetic camps here in New Mexico because that's where we live and it just seemed like it'd be more convenient. But unfortunately they were all just like maybe a week long or just like over the weekend kind of thing, and I really wanted to be completely immersed in like people who were diabetic who I wouldn't just know for a week or 2 days. I just wanted to be like a part of a diabetic utopia. And I found that. So we found this camp called Camp Sweeney, which I'm going to link down below, because if you're under 18 and you live anywhere near Texas, which is where it's located, you should definitely check it out, because that summer really opened me up and just made me feel more secure with my diabetes, and just, it was one of the best summers of my life, honestly. So what I initially noticed about the camp from their website was their video, which showed all the different things that you could do there, which are like, you could go swimming in the lake, there's a water slide, there are also pools, you can go hiking, you can dance, you can paintball or whatever, you can do all these different things, and it just seemed like, how am I gonna find any place better than this? So even though it was very expensive, we got my dad to pay for it, and I have no regrets. I don't think my parents do either, because until then I was really lost. Going there, I was able to experience, how do I put this? I was able to hear from people who are also diabetic what it's really like, and those opinions can range from, oh, I've had it forever and it's fine, I don't even notice it anymore, to, oh, I've also had it forever and it sucks and it's not going to get better. So it was really interesting seeing all the different personalities and just seeing that they were all just people. They were just normal people, and you had every single character possible, and yet they were all diabetic. So it was like, it was exactly what I was looking for, because I wanted to be around people where we could act normal but also be able to talk about stuff that nobody else understood. Because if I said, wow, I checked my blood sugar last night and it was really low and now I just feel like kind of crappy today, they'd be like, I did that too, or I know what you mean. At this camp, they were all about togetherness, so that you would never feel like alone. Like I've mentioned a million times already, that's all I wanted. So we would check our blood sugars at the exact same time. We would like be in little rows in our cabins, in our individual cabins, and we checked at the same time. We would give our injections at the same time, and at this time I was still on injections and I was extremely insulin sensitive. So the reason for this is because I was still on my honeymoon, And a honeymoon in diabetic terms means that the pancreas is still producing a tiny bit of insulin, so it's kind of helping your body along. And because it is an autoimmune disease, it isn't going to last long. Like eventually the remaining beta cells that are producing insulin for you are going to die and go away with the rest of them. But for most people this can last like a weekend or maybe a few months, but my doctor told me that the longest she'd heard of was 2 years, but it was very unlikely. I was that person. My honeymoon lasted for 2 years. First 2 years I was on injections because if I was on a pump, it would have made my sugars be really low because I was just so sensitive. So here is why I recommend it. First of all, you are going to get an inside look on what it's like to just have the raw, like unedited version of diabetes, because you're gonna see people who suffer more than you, people who suffer less than you. You're gonna see people of different ages. I know seeing little kids that were dealing with it as young as 5 and 6 was really humbling for me because I couldn't imagine being the parents of them and just feeling like I had no control over their diabetes to the point that I'd have to send them to camp so someone could help me, and I can't imagine how scary that is. So even though feeling like I was very young at 16, or I was diagnosed at 15, but to be 16 and have that disease, I actually kind of felt like I can be a role model for the younger kids, and so I can pull it together and realize that perspective really is everything. Number 2, you are going to make friends, and these are not just the type of friends that you just kind of, you have good memories with them but you never really think about them again. These are the types of friends that you experience such personal things with them that you keep in touch forever. I think having to give yourself a shot in the middle of the woods while you're like at a bonfire, whatever, with other people that you're with all the time is like an incredibly bonding experience, and I think that is just very comforting. Am I on number 3? I'm just gonna say I'm on number 3. So number 3 I would say is the fact that they really do help you regulate your sugars. So they will do everything for you. At least at the camp I went to, they would always be monitoring everything. So it was kind of a way of getting a lot of the people who had fallen kind of off the track to get back to normal. And I think it's really helpful if you just feel like you're a teenager who just is saying, I hate this so much, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Like, they will help you feel like you can do it. I know not everybody shares that opinion, and some people still walked away from there feeling like they hated camp and they hated diabetes and nothing was going to make it better. But for me, it was just what I needed. That was the hooker for me, was on the website when it said that you will make a friendship or several friendships that will last forever. I was like, that is what I want. I just want that typical camp experience of sitting around a fire and talking to people who I can relate to. Just like thinking about it now, I get happy because it was really the first time that I broke out of my shell and I didn't feel as awkward, and I was able to get my body more in shape, just back to kind of how it was pre-diagnosis. So those are my major reasons why I would definitely recommend a diabetes camp. And if you're shy, don't worry about it because you're gonna have a blast and you're gonna feel so much better. If you feel like you hate diabetes, then don't worry about it because you're gonna find a few other people who hate it just as much as you. If your diabetes is really out of control and you're just not feeling well, they will get you back on track. So if you're a parent watching this, I'd recommend just bringing it up with your kids because it was so worth it. By the time that I left camp, I felt a lot more confident in giving myself shots. I felt better about checking my sugar. I had become so a part of a routine that it was hard to break that routine, so I stayed pretty strict with everything after that. When I started my sophomore, or actually my junior year of high school, it was like I had a better handle of everything and my A1Cs were really good. If that doesn't convince you, I don't know what will, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody that follows me knows that this is something that is out there and available to them. I don't know about programs like this for people who are my age and older now, but definitely if you're younger, please try it because you will not regret it. I probably shouldn't say that because some people actually really didn't like it, but I liked it. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. Please like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment if you want, and I will see you guys next time.